Many people and many organizations do not understand that it's an AI tsunami. It is not just coming, it is here. If you think that 1 year later, okay, let me learn how to use AI right now, I truly believe that will be quite too late. We truly don't know what we don't know when it comes to AI. AI can help with a lot of problems, but it doesn't solve all problems. Every conversations we have, AI is always priority. It has to come from the CEO. I believe it's everybody's role in the leadership team. HR should be one of the key or frontliners that learn what's the capability of AI. People always want to know, how can you help my growth? Your job is not going to be replaced by AI. That's a sort of a certainty, but you will definitely be either upskilled or taken over by someone who is really good at using AI indirectly, but they are still coming for you.
First, maybe I introduce Cheah, who's on the call. Cheah is our head of HR at brioHR. And when I told the team I was interviewing you, a few people asked to join. I only allowed Cheah because he's our HR expert and he represents our audience. So I have a few questions from other members of the team. We've been very excited to have you. So thank you for joining us. I think as a setup, I would only tell you 2 reasons. There are others, but 2 reasons why we are very excited to have you today. The first one is the post you made shortly after you joined StoreHub. I just took a few extracts. I was planning to take a break till August. Then I had one innocent coffee with Wei Hong. And then you say the mission, not just to grow, but to reimagine how human and AI super teams can scale SMEs across Southeast Asia. We are blending intelligence, design, and culture into one system of execution, and it's moving fast. I remember reading this one and other posts on your LinkedIn. So for whoever hasn't seen you yet, you can look at Alan Cheah's LinkedIn. And there was another thing that made me very interested in this conversation that happened just a few days back. I had a chat with Dr. Fermin Diaz, who's quite an important figure in HR in Asia, but also globally. And we spoke about which function should manage AI. So is it the CTO? Is it the CHRO? And Dr. Fermin spoke about the need to drop the H out of CHRO so that we have a Chief Resources Officer. And I was looking to chat with you about your opinion on this, but just this is the intro. So that's the reason why we're with you today. I know you are the head of human and AI performance at StoreHub. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey before you got to this role at StoreHub?
Before this, I started off at one of the Malaysia government agency. We were looking into catalyzing startup in the region, Malaysia to across Southeast Asia. That was called Magic. I think now they're called Meranti. And then, of course, shortly after that, I joined a company called GoCar, which is a car sharing platform. And during that time there, we managed to scale it up to probably 1,000 cars across Malaysia. And it was going well until we didn't, because our dear friend COVID came visiting. And somehow I got sort of tagged with this car industry business, because right after I left that business, I was invited to join CARSOME to basically run the retail arm of CARSOME Malaysia. And then for about 1.5 years, I went to Philippines to look after the Philippines business for CARSOME as well. And 1.5 years after that, I came back. And then after a really pivotal conversation with Wei Hong is then when I joined StoreHub to look into the AI transformation part. Yeah, so that's the long and short of my journey right now. A lot of it has been touching in many facets of the tech products or innovations and so forth. But of course, nothing as game-changing as what is happening in these past few months, how AI is truly changing everything that we do. So yeah, exciting days ahead, really.
I just really want to jump in here and ask a question to Alan. Like the moment you mentioned CARSOME, I got so excited because I can literally hear the marketing jingle from CARSOME like ringing in my ears now. It's everywhere. And I think it's really a testament to how successful the branding is. But Alan, back to your experience. When you were with CARSOME, we was fresh out of the COVID era. And the business model in CARSOME is very different from the business model in StoreHub. Did you already see AI playing a really huge role while you were leading CARSOME back then?
To be honest, not really. Because at the moment when I was still in CARSOME, ChatGPT just came out in end of 2022. But even by then, it's a very gimmicky to be honest, a very gimmicky way of playing with AI. You get some queries, you ask some cool questions, they give you really great answers, research, but it has not fundamentally changed how AI it's working or the functions that it's able to do right now. The capability of AI has drastically changed over these past 2-3 years. And during the early days in CARSOME, we're probably using it for simple stuff, right? Answering emails, checking, fact checking, doing research, planning, and that sort of things. But of course, we also see the potential that was coming. Unfortunately, at the time, we just can't see what is it. We just have not predicted how fast it can go and how far it can go as well. So no, during the earlier days, we have not predicted the AI movement and we have not fully integrated in any of our business operations as well. Simple stuff, yes, but probably level 0 of AI usage.
What drove your interest in AI? And also what drove Wei Hong to trust you to lead that project at StoreHub?
What drove me to AI? Obviously, you're always inundated and flooded by all these AI capabilities, right? Like, wow, you can do this. Wow, you can do that. And to be honest, you only see the excitement and the passion for it only after you try it, where you can hear 20 million people talking about it. But as long as you yourself do not put it to practice, you will not see the amazing things that AI can do for us. Why Wai Hong believe in it? If you look at Wai Hong's history in the past on how he built up StoreHub, how he runs, how he do his business back in Australia, he is a pure techie. He understands tech like nobody else that I've met so far. You get addicted to his passion of looking at tech. And you also know, I'm not sure whether you guys know, right? Wai Hong is actually one of the top Dota players in the world. That's how integrated he is with gaming, with tech. So he's on the forefront of all these things that's happening in the world, which is great because then he brings it to the table. He gets you excited. And then you also say, hey, shit, I want to do that. So that's how I got excited so much, right? I know about AI. I work with it. I'm really excited what it can do. And then coupled with the fire that Wai Hong brings to the conversation, I was 10 times more excited. And that's how I came into the picture of integrating AI, learning about AI. And yes, sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. So far, we're having a lot of fun with it.
Why he chose you to do that?
Actually, the reason why is, Wai Hong told me this in his words. It's because I'm such a super generalist. So the idea of using AI, it's what we say right now. If you have the business acumen and the business insights, but if you're not supported by AI layers or tech layers, you will not see the opportunities that AI can provide in terms of scaling your growth as an opportunity, as so on and so forth. But if you are from a tech background, a fully technical person, but without the business experience or the business insights, you might have the tools, but you don't know what problems or what opportunity are you going to solve it for, right? So one of the best combo that you can do is basically find someone who is a generalist, able to see gaps, able to see opportunities, and also equipped with AI resources and tools to help you to basically fill in the gaps. I think if you're running a business, you also know sometimes your managers, your business operator, they'll go like, hey, I want to solve this. I need to have new features. I need to have new products. And then you go through the product team and the product team, okay, let me do research. Let me find out all this kind of information. Then you move it to the engineering team. The engineering team will go like, okay, this is not my pipeline. I need to prioritize the different things. It's a lot of process. But imagine now, if you from a business perspective, you're able to engage AI to support you in prototyping, support you in research, support you in planning. You already shortened the gap by a way lot more before you can actually bring it to product. So that's the reason why. Because I've been operating so many businesses and it's helpful to understand from a business perspective, opportunities, gaps, issues, what product we should bring out, what features we need to roll out soon, and so on and so forth. That's it.
Thank you. What's one belief you've had about AI early on while trying it that you've since changed your mind about?
Oh, AI can solve all problems. But we found out, obviously, that's not the case, right? AI can help with a lot of problems, but it doesn't solve all problems. Yeah, so we have changed that a lot. And now we are getting smarter about how to use AI to support us in achieving the solution that we want.
It also feels like every single business out there is slapping the words AI on everything, and suddenly it feels like it's something better already. But Alan, when you speak to someone who's not from a tech background, they may not necessarily have that same level of understanding and excitement as you do. How do you drive that excitement and understanding throughout the whole organization so that everyone is moving with you at that same direction?
We demonstrate it, right? The best way to show how impressive AI can work as your co-pilot is to basically demonstrate the capability of AI. And this is what we do, right? I think we also have stated if you look at Wai Hong's interviews or you look at my LinkedIn posts, we actually have ran many workshops. We have done hackathons. And all these are done with people with non-technical background. And when the people around us start seeing this, wow, this person who doesn't know coding and they code this kind of features, it automate this kind of workflow, they became very convinced, right, of what we're capable. Even on a personal level, right, talking with my friends, my family members who run their own business, which is not very tech savvy, it's the same thing. I just open up my laptop, show a few things, run a few codes, deal with simple automation, and I'm non-technical. And when they see how fast that I'm doing it, they became very convinced. They're like, oh, what else can you do? So the right question starts coming out. It's better than explaining, because explaining, you can talk as much as you want. And what you need to do is fully able to demonstrate an actual problem you can solve immediately. Something simple, something short, automating your emails, automating your claims and your submission for invoices and all this kind of stuff. Then obviously they themselves will take it to the next level. Back to the questions just now, like what Maddie asked in terms of being a generalist. People who run businesses, when they realize the capability that AI can bring to the business, wow, they can take it further because they start to ask all the questions that they are facing every single day in their daily tasks, in terms of the issues they face on operationally. Then that's it, right? They will just go away themselves. Obviously, 3 months later, they come back to me and they'll go like, I'm so overwhelmed. What else should I do? But of course, that's a question for another day.
Cool. And I wanted to ask you also, you said AI cannot solve everything, and that was your early belief. Any other things that you realized along the way? Any other things that surprised you so that we can avoid those misunderstandings?
I would like to really point out there are certain key things that we can avoid. But unfortunately, right now, how fast AI is progressing is fundamentally changing our mindsets and our thought processes every single day. Sometimes even when we are trying to solve a problem and we are going through this cycle of solving the problem using AI as a tool, and then next thing you know, then we get stuck, we are going through a loop, on, and then someone else will come to us and say that, oh, have you tried this new AI tool? And this will help you to solve that part of the problem. And I think that's the part that we are facing right now, where we are really overwhelmed with so many solutions, so many AI tools, that we just don't have time to catch up with the learnings and absorbing the knowledge. I finally can't even say, what I decide a key factor of what I know about AI right now, because it just keeps changing every day. Someone out there might have a better answer than me, but right now at where I am, I also feel that every day something happens that changes my mind about what AI can do or what AI can't do. And at this moment right now, we're just trying whatever we can and how to create some sort of focus group to focus on different part of AI so that one person is not overwhelmed by multitudes of things that's happening in the AI world right now.
You're becoming an influencer of AI. Your presence on this very podcast is a sign. You also were posting about it. Why this choice to make it like a public thing and not keep it internal to StoreHub? There's competitive advantage you can derive from that. There's also not sharing the secret sauce. Why this choice to be more outgoing?
I think it's a fundamental shift, right? There's nothing to hide about this. There's definitely someone out there smarter or someone out there that's picking up AI in a different way that we're doing it. And I think it's a very good shift towards how we run our businesses. Either that everyone will start understanding why, okay, to be honest, it's also beneficial to the company, is that our business or our merchants will look at us and go like, wow, these guys are moving towards a different type of breakthrough when it comes to running POS businesses, running customer businesses, and so forth. And sharing it, I don't think there's any secret sauce. AI now is a better teacher than any one of us. You can practically turn on your AI and just go like, how can I run my business better? How can I improve my operations? And those are simple sharing. We're not talking about what kind of products we are building. We're just talking about we're using AI to build our products. I think everyone should share more. And I think automation would in turns also benefit the entire society as a whole. Because I also get very frustrated with inefficiency, ineffectiveness when it comes to shopping, queuing up, banking, anything that affects my personal life. I think they should be supported by AI. So I'm always happy to share. Well, we always say that your job is not going to be replaced by AI. That's a sort of a certainty, right? But you will definitely be either upskilled or taken over by someone who is really good at using AI. And we're just talking about augmentation just now. So you think about it, someone who can use AI to automate their workflow, their thought processes, their planning, their research, and obviously the time it takes for them to do any of this process is way quicker than someone who's not using AI to support them. So it's not just about having the AI skill sets. It's just about understanding how to use AI to support your work so that you become a more productive person. And that's the message that we've been sending out to whether my own business circle or whether within StoreHub as well. And that's how we are driving the entire movement with the AI first company. So it's not a specific skill set. Is that how do you use AI to augment yourself to become even more productive?
What is it that you know and what is it that you know you don't know with regards to AI after those months of experimentation? Like, what are your certainty and what are your doubts?
Certainty is back to productivity. We are very sure that if you know how to use AI properly, it will definitely augment your productivity in anything that you do. If you used to do things in 2 hours, now you can do it in 30 minutes. That's for certainty. What we don't know is what else is going to happen. Back to the statement I made just now. We truly don't know what we don't know when it comes to AI. And even if you ask AI what's going to happen, they still can't tell you what's going to happen. How do we, one, make sure that everything that we implement is supporting the growth of the business and the people around us? And what we don't know, then we just keep it on a side view so that we are aware what's happening, but we don't get too caught up in it as well. Because sometimes it's very overwhelming when you see multitude companies right now that's out there achieving high volume of ARR and with a workforce of 10% team. Many people are getting very influenced by that. And then they'll go like, am I losing my job? Is the business fundamentally going to change? Is the world around me? Am I going to be useless to the future? And so forth. So that's the part we don't know. And we cannot control what we don't know. So we just focus on what we know. How do we use it to basically augment our productivity, our effectiveness, and efficiency as well? It's a very dangerous world, right? It's come to a point that some people are so influenced by what they don't know. They start following all sort of stupid information out there and create all this fear-mongering content and conversation without telling people the right way of looking at AI. And it's truly back to what I say just now. Use AI to augment yourself so that you become a more productive person, but not fear to a point that you think that you're going to be out of a job in the next 3 months.
Thank you. What's the most exciting innovation you've seen recently, at not just at StoreHub, but across the region, maybe even globally?
I like how people are now looking into building native AIs, right? Where they use it to speed up. So I always come from an aspect of productivity. In many cases of organization, you see that every decision made has to come with many layers of justification, data, information. And sometimes the power to access those information data takes too long. And now you see many companies or organizations out there, they are looking at how to build native AIs to speed up the process of research, speed up the process of data fact-finding and so forth. And I find that's one of the most critical part of building the AI first company, right?
What does it mean, native AI?
Which means that we build sort of AI brain within the company that cannot be accessed by the public, but it's all internally accessed by our own staff and our own team. So a good example is, actually I'm prepared with him, that it's like medical research, right? Last time when they start prototyping medicine, supplements, or any products out there, where they need to run through a lot of fact check, a lot of research from past findings, case studies, and so forth. But now what they do is that they build their own AI brain and they upload whatever information they have, past documents or past research. And what it does is that then the AI will become the one that is basically AI. It's just that except it sits on a native server, which cannot be accessed by anyone else. And so that now they get to verify their research quicker, they get to have an answer quicker to build their products. So if you Google all this, you can find a lot of research in terms of energy research, medical research, and anything that even I think cancer research, one of it as well, where they start using AI and they build a native AI server where they start having all this basically speed up their process of research. So it's quite fun to read those stuff because then you start seeing, I'm not sure whether it's directly correlated, but recently you see a lot of conversation come up about, they managed to solve the DNA to get rid of HIV permanently, or they can solve certain cancer, with using certain type of medicines and so on and so forth. But again, I cannot prove that because I did not read or do the deep dive research on it.
So basically it's having local data on a server that you don't put to the cloud, to ChatGPT, for instance. So you run your own instances. And what kind of model can you run? Do you get models from the big brands or you need to build your own model?
You can use a model from the big brands, but I think if using the big brands, you have to pay for it. Or there are some models that are less innovative. You also can put that. So it depends what you need it for. Some people just want it for queries. Some people just want it for suggestions. So it depends what kind of models that you need. There are free models out there. And of course, OpenAI, all these are not free. You need to pay for it. But if I remember correctly, there are free models out there.
We're talking about native AI, but it could be applied to many different types of AI tools. How do you choose? Like you were talking about it earlier, many tools are emerging everywhere. How do you discover them? And then how do you make your choice between the endless amount of options? And also you choose maybe today, but in 2 months, there's a new one. So how do you keep current? Like, how do you do it?
Okay, let's not talk about native because I've never done that before. I also heard it from some friends who are looking into, they got the stories from all these accounting firm, lawyer firms, because they have sensitive data. So they build their own native AI and they just plug it there. But in terms of using AI tools, that's a very good question because just now I keep talking about getting overwhelmed with AI tools out there. But same thing, we focus on what we know. We have a side view of what we don't know. And it's important to surround yourself with the right kind of brand and also network actually can give you access to whatever is happening in the AI ecosystem. The simplest thing is the newsletters and all these follow influencers. And so those are the simplest. Then it comes to communities around you. What kind of community do you hang out with? Are you part of a online community? Especially now, I think the quickest way of getting information is from Reddit, right? You just basically follow some of the key topics in Reddit. That's where you get a lot of information. Locally in Malaysia, I think there's also a lot of community building up that, having a lot of conversations about AI. That is how you get all the information. How you decide on what you want to use for your business or your personal self. Then you just find those that has key functionality that you require. I think the easiest right now, you think about it, OpenAI can cover most of your work and your research and your planning. Claude Code, you can use it for your, vibe coding and so forth. Just pick on a few, be very good at it. If anything new comes along, sure, experiment it, spare some time, play with it. And also, that's why having a community is fun because then you can testing out together. So even in Malaysia, I think there's a few community that you can join. Like, again, I'm really bad with names. Participate, understand how they play with it. If it's interesting to you, sure, put it as part of your core AI tools. Like me, I only have a few. The few that I mentioned to you are those that I use constantly on a daily basis. And then there are some that I just play for fun on the weekend, just to see whether it's useful to my business or useful to my personal growth. That's it.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a question you said that you would not be able to answer, but I still want to ask you. What do you think organizations will look like in 10 years, let's say 2035? Any idea? You speak about AI native tools. So I imagine every organization will have their AI native, maybe even each individual. I can see that, for instance. What other insights or other trends can you share with us?
Oh, wow. It's truly so hard to answer this because like the conversations I had with my own 3 months ago, whenever we talk about more than 80% of it is not even valid. And what we predict AI can do in the short matter of months, AI is doing way more than that. And now I've been following a lot, like even Sam Altman, the things they talk about. I truly don't know. If I want to guess, yes, we'll become more efficient, we'll become more effective. Social interaction might reduce because nobody's talking to each other anymore. Everybody rather talk to AI. In terms of business, fundamentally, obviously how we run businesses will also change. But one thing is for sure, I think that no matter how, a lot of the blue collar technical skills, they are the one who will thrive better than most if you don't pick up AI right now. So I'm talking about car mechanics. I'm talking about hairstylists. I'm talking about chef. I'm talking about business owners. Those skill sets will be highly valued in the next 5-10 years easily because anything else that you need, whether you need to become an accountant, whether you need to become an engineer or even an economist or even a stock trader, AI can augment so many of this. So how do you find a role for yourself in the next 10 or 20 years? It's so hard to say, truly. I can't even predict it. I never even attempted because I'm just focused on everything that's happening right now and how it can help us to run better businesses, run even your own personal growth, right? Last time you have so many questions to ask experts when it comes to your health, when it comes to everything. Now you go for one medical checkup, you just scan your thing through the AI. It can tell you more things that the doctor can tell you. Yes, it might not tell you the solution to whatever you're facing, but it definitely give you better clarity on all the numbers that you see on your medical cert. So no, I can't even make an attempt to predict what's going to happen in the next 10, 20 years.
Thank you. Thank you for telling us why. Maybe there's one thing that I'm interested in. The StoreHub story, is it the only one in Malaysia? Are there other people doing what you do? Because when I read you and when I see what you're doing, it seems to be all in, like all in towards AI. And it's not just sprinkling a little bit of it. You're very intentional in making a big move. Other organizations doing the same as you guys. Are you aware of others? Are you maybe a few peers of yours that are taking the same steps? And if you can share, who are they at the moment in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Southeast Asia, where we are mostly present?
That's a tough one. Right now, I know there are few people who actually call and reach out to Hong for advices or some sort of consultations. But in terms of companies, I actually have not heard of another company that's full on AI intentionally like us, like you say, right? It's an intention. It's not just about having AI product or AI support or AI chat group and all those kind of things, or even the AI chatbot, which everyone seems to be implementing these days, right? But in terms of the mindset shift and the paradigm shift, I think so far, and I might be wrong, but StoreHub should be the only one that I'm aware of. Because even on LinkedIn posts, I hear people talk about AI for their own personal usage or how they use it to generate avatars, running their marketing businesses. But I've not seen one that come out that basically want to become an AI first company in these few countries. I might be wrong about Singapore because I don't have any overview on that one. But in Malaysia, we should be the one. Yeah, that I'm aware of. Yeah, maybe Wai Hong has more insights on it because a lot of people reach out for him for a lot of advice that of why and how is he going on this AI first movement.
Okay, thank you. Maybe they are private about it, or maybe that's not happening much. And can you tell us, in terms of the investment of resources beyond yourself, how is the AI project led and executed at StoreHub?
For us, it's basically right now we're looking at a lot of automation. Products is just the speed of product to market, right? And in terms of cost, it's only the AI resources that we need to invest in. And that's one of the things that we're very grateful for because it's very easy for us to access a lot of AI tools in StoreHub. In terms of product to market, it's the same features that we are building. It's just that how fast we are bringing it to the market. And also, how do we look into augmenting our own employees? So far, those are the costs that we're looking into. And also the cost of opportunities that how do we look at improving our costs and also improving the value opportunities that we see out there. Yeah.
Besides yourself, who's participating to the AI transition? How much time of the CEO, how much time of the HR team, how much time of the marketing team? How do you allocate resources towards the change?
It's practically the entire leadership group, right? Because every meeting that we have, AI is always the key priority. Every conversations we have, AI is always priority. How each of the department do it is very different because marketing obviously will have a quicker adoption of AI into their businesses because it really truly improves their productivity in many folds. As for the operational part of the businesses, that will take a bit of time because you have to analyze each task and then ensure that it's logically and can be automated using AI. And how do we use that to augment the output from each of our team members or each of the department that we're looking into? How much time we spend on it? A lot, actually. But of course, we also have a core team that specializes into understanding how AI can improve every single workflow, task, or how to educate our team, building workshops, hackathons. So these are the things that we focus on every single day, every single week, in every conversation. It's not easy because, like all things, you have to keep talking about it until it's fully integrated into everybody's memories. It's like a muscle memory. The more you train them to do it, the more they remember how to do it.
And the process, you started to talk about it, analyze each task, look at the time it takes, find ways to automate, find tools. Can you tell us a bit more about if there's a standardized process, how do you run it at the moment?
We don't have. We basically use the basic transformation methodology. It's just that now it's just augmented by AI. That's the only difference. If you look into how people look into business transformation, it's exactly the same thing. Except now is how do we use AI to augment it or use AI as a solution for it. That's the only difference. Because look, no one up to today, right? Many people or many consultants come to you and say that I can use AI to solve this for you. But if you think about it, it's the same thing if you use AI as a co-pilot to help you solve the transformation. We're still learning. Obviously, we're getting better at it. In any progress, every transformation that we look into, the time is getting shorter and it's getting more effective. But there are also transformation that we did that doesn't make sense, right? Because we thought AI would. Same thing like back to what I believe 3 months ago, right? That AI can solve everything. But now we know AI cannot solve everything. So it's still a learning curve for each and every one of us inside StoreHub. But it's just this focus that Wai-Hong brings to the table, that every conversation, we surface the issues that we face with every transformation, and then we together will work towards it, and also understanding how AI can support this transformation with the least resistance and also the easiest, because you have the care tool, right? Like you guys are in HR. And how do we ensure that we want people to understand that we're using AI to augment the processes and the productivity? We're not using it to replace your job. So sometimes you also see in the news out there that people think that every time we talk about AI, we're talking about replacement jobs. So that's why we have to approach all these processes and transformation using basically the same methodology, actually. Just analyze, understand, how can we augment it? How can we build up the process? Still a big learning curve, to be honest.
So Alan, maybe like just jumping on your last point that if I'm a HR person or if I'm part of a HR team in my company and I want to partner and help the organization to adopt more AI, what's the one thing that you feel HR should start doing right now in order to kickstart this journey?
I think HR should and understand the ability and AI as a support system or as your co-pilot. And they themselves should understand how far AI can take you, what can it do for you, how does it help your career path, how does it help your growth. AI, like again, where I keep using this word, how AI can augment your growth. It's as simple as that. If you do it too quickly and then without understanding what AI can do for you, obviously it creates some sort of fear in the organization. So I think HR should be one of the key or frontliners that learn what is the capability of AI and how does it able to, basically, people always want to know, how can you help my growth? How can you help me to grow even better in my career? And that's the same question that has been asked in the history of all of mankind, right? It's just that now, if HR have the ability to understand how AI does that, then obviously the conversations and the integration will be easier. I wouldn't say it's damn easy, but it makes it easy for people to understand what AI means to the organization.
What are the respective roles of the CTO and the CHRO in the AI transformation? So head of people, head of tech, how do they play together in that journey? I don't think, as far as I know, I don't think most companies are doing the same as you, where the entire leadership team is stepping up to do AI. What are your learnings at the moment from the StoreHub experience with those two functions specifically?
On the CTO side, one thing we really have a really brilliant CTO. She would basically also understand how she went on head first together with my home. They tag team with each other, right, on exploring AI, what's AI capability, and they deep dive themselves. They're both very technical people. They both can code and they both understand tech very well. When they explore the capability and what AI can do, what AI can't do, security layers, only then they introduce it to their team. And then they'll demonstrate to their team, how can you use AI to support your coding? How can you use AI to support your product? Or HR, they basically will be doing what I mentioned just now, right? How should what their understanding of AI and how can it help everyone in the company to upskill themselves and also build their own career path within the organization. So a lot of conversations need to happen on the leadership side before we actually share it with the entire company, because it helps a lot when the leaderships truly understand the benefit, the capability, and the limitation of AI before you actually implement the entire transformation. And that's one thing we learned over these past few months. How do we ensure that we are bringing the right information to the ground so that everyone understands why we have this focus on this AI-first organization? But to be honest, I think it's very much similar to any fundamental shift that we want to bring to the organization. I'm sure when we want to do structural change, when we want to do reorganization and all those kind of things, it's the same fundamental, that how do we package the information, experience, and understanding from a leadership level and perspective, and then bring it to the entire team. I think also, if I read correctly, brioHR also have done a few shifts in the past. Right now, are you guys also looking into adopting AI as one of the new shifts to the whole direction?
We are. I've interviewed actually Nabil in the previous podcast to talk about how we're doing it, both internally as an organization and how we're changing as with the products. I'll send you the link when it's live, but we went, I think, for an hour and a half talking about how it's changing at Brio. It's quite deep, but we haven't made it too public. So we are actually starting to share more about what we do. And we're also starting to show the users the specific AI capabilities, because before they were into the product without us to actually market them. And now we came up with a brand so that people can actually see, oh, that's the AI part. For just as an example, we've been having OCR for the claims, just like taking a photo, we have it for years, but we never show, hey, this is AI powered. So it's more about messaging and telling the story than really big changes in the past few months. It's been a long process for Brio, but yeah, and all developers are using it too. I think what you said is very interesting. The big problem that I was trying to elucidate was, is it for the CTO to lead? Is it for the CHRO to lead? Is it for a special role that has been created at StoreHub? How do you see this leadership of AI happening? Would you put it under any function? Is it the CEO's mandate to do that? What's your take?
I think it's like implementing a culture. It has to come from the CEO, right? And then the buy-in from the leadership team is very important, because you cannot have one department so augmented by AI and then another department that go like, nope, we're not doing this. It's everybody's role, and it comes to driving this AI shift from the top to the bottom. And then obviously you need to get your peer ambassadors on any layers or heavy levels of the organization to then bring it back up to the top. To me, it's really like implementing a strong, positive culture. And you can't do it if you only get one or two buy-ins, but the mandate has to come from the CEO. As for whose role to drive the whole road up, I think it's the entire leadership team. It's not the CTO, it's not just the HR, it's everybody's responsibility to drive this shift. Because no point HR come out with some fancy stories, how AI can do this, AI can do that, you can help your growth. And then CTO say, oh, my products now are augmented by AI, but the rest is not follow suit. Then what's the point? So it has to be everybody's role in the leadership to keep constantly driving this conversation. Yes, you can say it's a CEO's role, but look, the CEO's role is to drive the mandate. And then on a daily basis, that's why we leaders are here, to understand why AI is so important to the next stage of our company. So I believe it's everybody's role in the leadership team, and so on and so forth.
I'm in marketing, so I do copies and I do reflect about messages. And one of the things that I've been wondering is whether I should prompt and then get the answer and then think outside the prompt, or should I just create the prompt for AI, respond with my own insights, and then check AI? And the main reason for that question of the sequence, whether I should think with my brain beyond the prompt before AI or after AI, has to do with the kind of deeper thinking process that we don't engage in if we let it to AI. I've read a paper, I think it's quite a recent one, I published it on LinkedIn as well, about the fact that people are getting less memory of what they do. They are also getting less smart about what they do if they use AI right away. So I was already doing it because I felt it was not mine. So if I was just prompting and getting an answer, I felt I was just disappearing behind the tool, and I was just an assistant to the AI of getting input from the real world. So quite quickly, I chose to be always checking my own self before I go. What do you recommend to people? And is it a different answer for different people, for different organizations?
I think the answer is different for different type of work that you're doing or different output that you want. How I do it is that I know the output I want. I basically know what's my goal in all the prompts. And obviously, then I will ask AI, how can I engineer a prompt that will get and help me to achieve my goal? One of the workshops that we ran in the company recently, we called it Frame It Like a Founder. How do we frame our prompts and our context and our questions like a founder would frame their thoughts in questions? And that helped us tremendously, not just asking a simple question or query or prompt, and then let AI take over the entire thought process and conversation and so on and so forth. But it became a two-way, very insightful conversation. If we engineer a prompt correctly, obviously AI will ask us back the right questions, which allow us to continue thinking deeper on what we're trying to achieve with this prompt that we are building. And even from the marketing, I've seen some of the marketing prompts, it's so way complex. But you need that, right? Because when you're building a marketing video or a image or content, you need to be very specific on how it should turn out and how it should react on the campaign that you're running and so on and so forth. I see some of their prompts, but what I gather from the marketing team here is that they do almost exactly the same thing. Because a lot of times we do not know how to ask that prompt. When we try to prompt it, we prompt it as much as we know. And sometimes there are a lot of things that we don't know. And how do you use AI as a co-pilot to become your brainstorm and your sounding board? Then you engineer a prompt to basically work with AI. AI will ask you some questions to give more insights to what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve. And that goes back and forth. And that's how we use it to clarify our thought processes and give a clear vision of what we're trying to achieve in whatever we are running using the AI. Yeah, so that's how I start engineering my prompts to build and achieve all these outputs for me. I don't think first, because sometimes, look, our human ability to think is just so limited by our experience and what we know. But in our mind, clearly we know what's output I want from this. I want a project that helped me to engage my customers and increase my impression by 50,000. I know I want that. How to get there? Of course, I will use AI to become my sounding board. So brainstorm with me, work with me, let me understand what tools are out there, what processes I can build, ask me 20 questions that allow me to improve my thought processes so I know how to achieve whatever I want at the end of it. So that's how I use AI as a co-pilot.
And then I really love everything that you explained in terms of how you feel like AI should be used. We might have listeners on millennials. They are probably still in university right now. They're going through this whole AI tsunami that you call it, right in the middle of when they're just starting to build their careers. What's your one piece of advice to these people in terms of how they should prepare for what's coming next?
Wow. Education is a very sensitive topic. Wow, it's tough, right? I see I just recently heard about this lecturer in one of the local uni. I'm not going to say which one, and he's quite on the near to the retiree age. He literally just banned AI in all their assignments. And obviously, one of my friends the question straight away they asked was, how do you know whether they use AI to do it? Right? There's no way to find out. And then I think recently Sam Altman also came out and said that this will fundamentally change how education is perceived in the future, because everything you want to know now, you just go on AI. So I think the advice for me, for the students that's coming up, is that they have to learn AI in a way that will prepare them for the future, right? Whether in terms of tools, whether in terms of focusing in a certain type of industry. How can they use AI to augment themselves or use it in a way that they're able to build automation products as far as I can see, okay? And my vision now might be too limited because AI is just changing so fast. But no matter how, they need to focus on how to use AI to augment their ability to learn, to scale up, and not just rely on AI to do everything for them. Unfortunately, some of them will get too caught up. I know it's so easy to do my assignment with AI, then they just submit. But back to what Maggie said, do I think first before I use it, or I just use it and then let it think for me? So there's a fundamental shift between these two. So it's always better to think first on the outcome that you want, then only use AI to clarify your thought process and then sharpen your vision and sharpen your goal, and then use it, then only use it to get what you want. So that will be my advice to all the students out there, because at the end of the day, anyone with the AI access will be as smart as you as well, to be honest.
The follow-up, because I'm not sure I understood, so my bad. When you spoke about whether to come up with your own insights or prompt and get the insight from GPT, I got your answer, and I think if I will reformulate and then see if we can go a bit deeper. Your answer was, don't go for the prompt, go for your objective and ask AI for what prompt it would use. I understand. I think it's a super smart idea to go back to not the first principle, but the first objective, the ultimate objective of the business or whatever work you're going. I think it's amazing. That's something I'd never thought about. So thank you for that. The other part that I'm not sure is, okay, you went for clarification of your objective. You can even use AI to clarify that objective further. So you can have a dialogue with AI. So you came up with the objective first. Now you have your prompts that came from the objective. You could have written your prompt without asking AI. So you could refine the objective and then go to the prompt and do the same thing where I write the prompt first and then I refine it. And then the third step, you could think the product of the prompt and then refine it. So my question to you is, do I come up with the objective? You have to, because AI is not going to work on the first one. So that's the one you need to work in whatever way it needs to be worked on. The second one, do you do the prompt first? And the product, do you do it first from your own insight, your own self? Or do you use AI first? That's kind of the same question I asked, but because you introduced something else, I understand that you say think first to the students. So I imagine this is the answer, but can you go a bit deeper on that?
So it really depends what I'm using it for. Something simple, I will basically just think first and I'll use the prompt. As quick as that. But if so something that I need to have a deeper thought process, clarifications, then normally I will think first. Then I will ask AI to come up with a prompt that will help me to refine my thought process and also to understand what I'm trying to achieve with this prompt. And then obviously AI will come out with a whole prompt that will basically prompt me for insights, questions, further data. And then I'll use that and then I'll run that through again. Then I'll see whether the answers that is given to me is actually helping me to build my case. If it doesn't, then I'll use another one and I'll re-engineer it again. So it's multiple layers, right? There's no one right way to do this. Some people get what they want by just using one prompt, but to the students, what I'm worried now is that they take the easy way out. They think that's the best answer they can get, and that would basically give them an edge in, I don't know, their assignment or their projects or whatever things. But it's very important to use AI to clarify your thoughts. And how much clarity you need depends how important that workflow or that project is to you. Every action I take on my AI is to help me to refine my thought processes and give me the clarity I need to achieve what I want to do in my work or my personal life. Right now, we know AI is way more powerful than that. When the conversations that we're always talking about is when you first use AI, it's like an 18-year-old researcher or your 18-year-old personal assistant. Help me to do this, help me to do that. And then now as memory goes and the model getting stronger, you are getting like a 10, 30-year-old experienced professor working for you. So you must learn to ask the right questions. And also you must have the ability to figure out that's not the answer that you want. So how do you then use it again to clarify another round to truly get the answer that will help you and contribute to your work? So that is the thought process of using prompt engineering, as we call it, in whatever I do. But that's my personal way. I think some people from the start, they straight away engineer a really hardcore prompt and to get what they want. But to me, you need to have a bit of thought process yourself, right? Because if you're not able to think for yourself, to understand that is the right answer, and then that becomes troublesome because you don't know what you don't know, right? And some of the times the answer they give to you, it might sound cool, it might sound great, but in the end, the answer will actually jeopardize whatever you're trying to do in your entire workflow. Yeah. I hope that answers your question, Matthew.
That does. Thank you. And I think the consequence of what we're talking about is like a meta process of thinking, a meta thinking happening in each individual in the organization, as long as they start understanding this dialogue between AI and themselves, multiple instances of AI. Do you find out that people are getting wiser, smarter, because they are able to do more perspective taking and more refinement of their thoughts? Is it something that you can see already at StoreHub?
Only those who use AI intentionally. Those who use AI to become lazy and escape their responsibilities, you don't see that happening. You will see sloppy work. You will see, even you look at the email, right? I'm sure now you encounter some of it. You take one look and you go like, that email is written by AI, but it's fine. But it's shit content. It's filled with so much words and sentences where 2 sentences would do. It doesn't answer questions. But those who use AI intentionally those are the people that you see they're getting smarter, they're getting wiser, they're getting more productive. And then when they are presenting their facts in meetings, wow, this guy has gone through the whole thinking process. He knows what he's talking about. They know what they're talking about. And then you also can see those who use AI to skip their responsibility. Yeah, those are the ones that's going to face a lot of trouble in the future.
Thank you, Alan. Maybe one question on how you run those workshops. So if, let's say that HR people are listening to us now, I'm trying to find out what would be the easiest next step to take an action after hearing you. Maybe a workshop could be because it's limited in time. So let's say I'm going to organize 90 minutes for my team. Can you tell us about how you run your workshops at StoreHub in order to kind of help with the change management toward AI? Any learnings from those? Maybe you want to tell us about the format, the agenda, whatever you want to share for HR people, because it's mostly our audience, right? We're mostly talking to the HR community. What would you recommend them to do in order to take an action after this?
I think internally is that it's very important to have a strong ambassador of AI in the company. And that person can actually drive all the conversations in the workshops or hackathons that you're running in. Because the easy way out is to get someone outside to come and train your team. But we also have seen that happening. And I'm sure in your expertise, when you get people to train like that, people come and attend the workshop, they do a few things, and then that's it. It's forgotten after the next few days. We find that continuity is very important. Format is not that important because workshops, when it comes to AI, there's multiple, right? One, either you learn the tools, or two, you learn how to use the prompts. You have to understand at what level your organization is. You need to understand the benchmark of your organization so that you know that you can bring in the right workshop into your team. If you bring a workshop and everyone just sit there and go like, what the fella is doing, and then you will lost half of them. So it's very important to benchmark first. And once you're able to benchmark already, one, if you have a strong AI ambassador, use that person. If you don't have, get someone that's able to inspire them to basically show them, again, back to your way earlier questions, right? How then is to demonstrate the ability AI to augment your productivity. Again, format, not that important, to be honest, right? Because there's multiple ways to run the format. Because the way you learn how to do prompts and the way you use vibe coding is totally different. For HR to start doing this, either work with another organization or someone that's really passionate about AI, bring that person in and start training your team. And then use that and then build a continuity to it. Because AI is not something that you learn and then it works for you. It's practice, constant usage. So how do you bring that continuity to your team when you want to organize workshops like this? So you need an AI champion it's like culture as well, right? So you need a cultural champion. Now you need an AI champion.
You've been talking about culture quite a few times already. What are the mindsets that are getting in the way of the implementation of AI? And I think you talked about fear, the fear of being replaced. So I guess that's one we already covered. What other mindsets, beliefs that are getting in the way of implementation of AI in organizations these days?
There are some that don't believe that AI is any use to them. They think that AI is just another tool, like Excel, like PowerPoint. It's something they need to learn, but they don't think that it will bring a fundamental shift to their personal life and also their careers. So we still see there are people who are like that, firm resistance, or just have a don't care attitude. When you have a don't care attitude, then that's worse because you don't even have an inclination to learn what AI is capable of doing for you. They think it's a waste of time. And this is back same thing when I talk about culture, right? Some people think culture is useless because once they don't see the tangible results immediately, they think that it's not useful for them. But same thing, AI is something that you need to practice. You need to implement in heavy layers of your work life so that you know how it helps you to improve your productivity, build your career, upskill yourself. So that's the kind of resistance that we see, not in just this organization, in some of the smaller teams that I talk to my friends about, right? And sometimes some of my friends run small businesses, 20 plus, and the boss is all in for AI, right? Because he's so impressed with what he can do. But 50% of his team is like, no, I got no time for this. I got no time to learn. I got no time to spend on working on AI. I got more important things to do. Yeah. So it's the mindset shift. You don't have it, then it's very hard to convince. And you should not be trying too hard to convince that person because for a fact, a person who want to learn AI intentionally will basically scale 10x from the person who not even interested in learning it yet.
You spoke about 3 principles on one of your LinkedIn posts. You said, learn while building, not before. Raise the floor, not just the ceiling. And then velocity is not chaos, it's a skill. I think this one is hard to understand on its own, so I'll just add one more thing you said. We don't ship fast because we rush. We ship fast because we build systems that allow for iteration without friction. Can you tell us more about those 3 principles and how they contribute to the culture, how you've been making sure they are instilled in every team and every individual's?
Oh, that's really tough. How that principle came about was my own pain points. It's the same approach to learning something new, right? We keep thinking that by reading about AI, you understand about AI, you watch videos about AI, you understand about AI, but that's not the fact. So it's back to the prompting that we talked about just now. If not for the fact that I play so much with it, I begin to understand how engineering a proper prompt or thinking how to engineer a prompt that I get better at what I do. So learning is you have to do it. AI is as simple as that. The more you do, the more you understand how AI works, then you just become better at it. As simple as that. The second principle about raising the floor is because you're not basically coming to look for a rock star for AI. You want AI to basically you want to empower everyone in your organization to use AI so that they help to improve everyone's productivity. You don't need superstars. That's why you need to raise the floor. Many people keep thinking we need to raise the ceiling. It's something we need to achieve higher and higher. But fundamentally, you just have to equip your team with AI capability, the right mindset shift, and how to frame it like a founder. So then everyone is capable to support and also contribute to the growth of the company. And velocity, obviously, that one, we find out that if you don't build the right velocity to how you implement and integrate AI to every part of your business and organization, then you lose the essence of using AI to grow. Right now, AI is moving so fast. You ask me whether we're the only company that's using it. I'm sure I might be wrong. There might be other companies that's using it or implementing it. So how do you build the velocity? Because you need to be really quick at this. If anything that's too late, then it comes to a point of time that it works on the individual process as well. Someone who is using AI intentionally better than you is going to replace you. That's why velocity is a fundamental principle in using AI. If you think that 1 year later, okay, let me learn how to use AI right now, I truly believe that will be quite too late. And I'm talking about peer-to-peer. Right? I'm not talking about generations from students. When they come out, is it too late for them to learn? No, that's a different conversation altogether. I'm just talking about right now, right? Whatever you're doing in your organization or your business or your personal self, if you don't pick up AI and have the velocity with it, then someone else who's doing it intentionally will definitely come after you unintentionally, indirectly, but they are still coming for you. Yeah, that's the 3 principles.
Maybe 2 very technical questions from Jack in the team. What AI agents are you using in each department? And if you have many, maybe just focus on HR and maybe marketing for my own sake. That would be the first one.
AI agents, you're talking about, actually for marketing, I don't know which agent they're using, to be honest, because, everyone is using. For HR, it's normally focused on automation. They build a lot of features to automate their processes. But again, also, I'm not sure what kind of agent they're using.
Okay.
And most of it is just to automate their workflow. Like what you say, like the OCR for claims and so on and so forth. And it's just all done through vibe codes.
And another one, which is very technical as well. Are you guys using N8? I don't even know what he's talking about. N8N or Make to build your agents? Is it what you're using?
That's not agent, right? That's just a tool for us to automate our workflow. We use it in some parts of the organization, but not fully, because it's great for automation when it comes to workflow, but it's also very complicated visually, because if you've seen it before, if you're doing simple automation nodes, it's very fast and very easy. But when you're trying to do too many automation flows, I might not be the expert, but I've tried it before. It tends to screw up my automation to a point I get very frustrated. So it's not something that I use on a daily basis. I've learned about it, but I think some of our teams do use it for their own workflows. So AI agents, I think more on AI tools as well. Because if you're talking about AI agents, then we build a lot of internal AI agents for us to run
What platform do you use? I think that was Jack's question, is what platform do you use in order to build them?
And we are using Cloud Code a lot. Some of us are using cursors.
What's the one question about AI no one is asking, but definitely should?
So one of the questions that we always ask about AI is actually the same question, very similar to what you asked us now. Where is it going to bring us next? I think a lot of focus on conversation right now is what AI can do for us right now. But the problem is similar. And if you keep asking that question, no one can give you the answer as well. What is considered an AI breakthrough? That's also some of the questions that we have asked before. Yeah, we also don't know. There's just so many products with AIs out there. And if I have to think carefully, I think what is considered an AI breakthrough right now in the organization? Internally, that's the questions that we will ask each other if we're actually faced with what is next when it comes to using AI.
Alan, is there anything in AI right now that we are underrating or underestimating? The one thing that we are not seeing right now?
Not seeing right now. It's the adoption, right? Now we are having this conversation because you know something about it. Maddie knows something about it. And then I'm surrounded by people who's always talking about it. But when it comes to the general adoption of AI, you realize that actually majority of the people out there still do not understand the implication of AI has in their personal life and also their professional life. So I think that's the thing that we're underestimating. And I think Wai Hong brought it up in one of his podcasts. many people and many organizations do not understand that it's an AI tsunami. It is not just coming, it is here. That's okay, since as long as we are intentionally using it.
I will just quote you and Wei Hong, treat AI like an alien invasion.
Oh yeah, that's actually Wei Hong's quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually Wei Hong's quote. And it makes a lot of sense. It really is like an alien invasion. And people are still taking their own sweet time. People don't understand the implication of it. So tough for them, right? Everyone's talking about it. You are talking about it. I'm talking about it. Some people treat it as if like, it's just another tool. But if they can't be convinced, then it's just too bad, man. Really just too bad.
Would you recommend to organizations to wait and not implement AI in some cases? Like, what do you need first, or what organizations should not invest and implement AI?
I don't think there's any organization that should not implement AI, right? Because in terms of competitiveness, this is something that would basically augment your company's growth. And in any industry, AI so far has proven to be a benefit. Obviously, there are some who reported that after the massive investment in AI, it doesn't do anything for them. So I am not sure why that happened, but to me that you have to get started. And even if you can't invest 100 million, but start getting your people or at least your leadership and your management level to understand and study how AI can help to improve their workflow, their productivity, and so on and so forth. Because if you don't get started right now, then it's just a matter, you definitely have a competition. Unless you are in an industry where you are the monopoly, then I think you should pick up AI in anything that you do. Whether you improve your business, whether you improve especially your customer journey, one of the key things. Too bad right now, I think not enough conversations are happening on the bigger organizations, right? How can they help AI to improve their customer experience? And don't quote me, but I'm talking about telcos, I'm talking about energy companies, how they can speed up the process for their people waiting in their queues and so on and so forth. So to me, I don't think there's a right time to start. As long as you start now.
Thank you. Alan, is there anything we didn't cover that you think we should have covered today?
No, I think pretty much every question that you guys asked touched on almost every facet of AI usage or the current AI movement in the country. I think right now is how to get more people to adopt it and also implement it in their daily work life or even their personal life to improve, like to me, right? And I think one of the key ideologies that Wei Hong has, actually one day if you all can interview him, that'd be a great thing. It's not just about augmenting your professional life. It actually helps to augment a lot of your personal life as well. How can we take better care of our own health, our workout? There are many questions last time that creates a barrier. And look, AI remove a lot of those barriers because last time you need money to consult, I don't know, a trainer, to consult your health specialist or get all these things sorted, how to plan your diet, how to plan your medicine supplements and all that. But now I'm not saying it's way cheaper, but with AI, it's easier to start planning all this. You don't need personal expert. You can just use AI to sort of refine your thought process in terms of how can you build a better health or build a better wealth planning or build a better physical. You can use it for so many things. And that creates a healthier lifestyle for each and every one of us. You cannot just now sit there like, no, I got no time for this, I got no time for that. Now everything's at your keyboard. Ask the right questions, you have the right direction, and then you take it from there, right? And then after that, if you need to consult an expert, go ahead. But to be honest, I'd use AI to help to rebuild my own personal lifestyle, right? In terms of my schedule, my routine, my workout, my health supplements, what's the best time for me to work out, best time for me to sleep, all of this. Yes, it must be verified with my personal trainer, but now I get to ask the right questions because I've clarified my thought process. I understand, what I don't know, what I know. I think that's a fundamental shift that people should start integrating AI in every of their daily personal life as well. And to be honest, it also helped me with my wealth management. Last time, you have to depend on expert to tell you that, unit trust is good, you should invest in this stock, invest in that. But right now, you have the ability to ask all these questions, clarify it, and then you go back to the person that is telling you all this stuff. It really truly changes how I have led my life these past few months to a better person that I am today. Really.
That's a cool message. Thank you so much, Alan. Really appreciate it. I'm going to definitely think about the objective first before the prompt. So that's my main takeaway from this conversation. There are many things that you said, but this one struck me. So thank you.
Yeah. Actually, that's also taught to me by Wai-Hong. He's always about bringing clarity to your thought.
Yeah. I thought about wisdom in a different way as well. Like I think this AI thing, if I'm hopeful on a hopeful message, just like you just did on personal goals, I think AI has the potential to give everyone more meta process thinking or meta thinking thing. You can look at yourself thinking instead of just thinking automatically. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Thank you, Alan.